aboyandhisdogs here playing Hexcells. We're going to move on to puzzle 3-1. Alright, so this is going to teach us a new concept. Numbers outside the grid show the number of blue hexes in that column. So for this column, there'll only be 2. So there's only 2 there, so we know both those are blue. And one thing you can also do is you can left click on the outside column to see a line go through. And then once you solve for the column, you can right click to kind of de-highlight it so it doesn't distract you anymore. So for this 3, there's only 3 in that column. We can mark all those. And for the 4, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So for these zeros, there's obviously going to be nothing, so we can eliminate those. For this 2, we have 1, 2. And because there's 3 in this column, we have 1, 2, 3. And that's how you get a perfect in 3-1. Numbers like this, with the brackets around the number, give the additional information that the 3 hexes are consecutive. So if you ever played the game Pacross, you can use some similar logic in this game. So with this column of 2 here, we know that the 2 will have to be connected, and so we can figure out which ones overlap. So usually what I like to do is count like from the top. So we have 1, 2, then I'll count from the bottom 1, 2. And I try to remember what was overlap between the 2. So in this case it's easy, it's just 2. So we know that the center one, no matter which combination, will be blue. And then for the center, there's only 2 there, so we know those are both blue. And now we have our 3, so we can eliminate these 2 and solve for those 2 columns. Alright, so for this column of 4, we know we can highlight the inner 3. But we're not quite sure yet if it's going to be the top or the bottom that will be the blue to finish off the 4. We do have our 2 next to that, so we can eliminate these 2. And we can solve for this column. And now we can solve for that middle column. And we have our 1 there, so we can eliminate this. There's only 2 left. It's going to be those 2 blue. Okay, and so we have our 1 here, so we know that's blue. And we know that they all have to be connected, and it's regardless of spaces. So we know that there's 3 here, so we know there's going to be 1, 2, 3. And we can eliminate these other ones. Alright, so for this row or column, we know that those 2 will have to be blue. Go ahead and eliminate the zeros, because those are always really easy to do. There's only 1 in this column, 1 left. We'll mark that. 4, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these 2 will overlap, and we can select those. For the 3, only the center one will overlap. We can select that one. And for this 3, we know the middle one will overlap, which will be that one. So for this 2, there's only 2 next to it. We'll do 1, 2. And for here, there's only 2 in the column. So we know we'll mark this last one as blue and solve that column. Alright, so now we have enough information to complete this column. Since they all have to be connected, we know we can't select this one up here. And these bottom 2 will be blue. And the same goes for that last column there. For this 3, we have 1, 2, 3. So now with the information we have, we know that either this one or this one will be blue. This one obviously can't be blue because that would extend to 4, so we can eliminate this one. And with that, we can now eliminate those 3. So we can solve for both these columns. We have our 3 and we have our 4. Okay, so for this column, we know that the one that will overlap between the 2 will be the middle, so we'll select that. And now we know that one has that next to it, so we can eliminate this one, and that will help us solve that puzzle with a perfect. Numbers like this, dashes around the number, give the additional information that the 3 hexes are not connected. Alright. So in this case with a -2, there has to be a space between the two that are blue. And so since there's only 3, we know that the outside 2 will have to be blue and the center will have to be eliminated. That's the only way that particular combination will work. We have our 2 there, so we can eliminate those. And we'll eliminate those zeros. Alright, so at the center column we have the bracketed 2. We know it has to grow from this one that's already blue, so it will have to be this one. And we can eliminate the other hexes in that column. Okay, so for this column we now have our 2, so we can eliminate those 2. And here we have our 2 there, so we can eliminate this one. And we have our 2 for this 2, so we can eliminate that one. If we look at this column, we have our 2, so we can eliminate the bottom one. Okay, so for this column, we know that the next blue in this column can't be right next to the existing blue. So we know we can eliminate this one. And that will help us solve for this 3. Now that we have our 2 in this column, we can eliminate the last 2. And we have our 2 there, so we can eliminate this one. Alright, so we finished the right side of that puzzle. We can move over to the left side. In this column we have our 2, we can eliminate the last 2. In this column we have 2 already, so we can eliminate the last 3. Alright, there's only 1 next to this one. And if we look at this column, there's only 1 in this entire column, so we can eliminate all 4 of those. Let's look at our 0 here. We can now solve for our 2, there's only 2 next to it. And for this one, there's only 1 next to it, which will help us solve for this one. We can eliminate this last one there. Alright, so for this column, there's only 1 in this column. And so for both of these 2's to work, we know that it has to be the center one. That way, this 2 has 1, 2, and this 2 has 1, 2. And then we can eliminate the 2 outside. So both these 2's already have 2 next to it, so we can eliminate both of those. And for this 2, we have 1, 2. Okay, let's see what we have here. We've got a bracketed 2. We know the center will be safe, no matter what. For this -2, we know that both of the 2 blues can't be here because they'll be connected. So that would mean that we'd at least have to have 1 out here. And we've solved for this one, so we can eliminate all those around there. We have our 2 there. And we can solve for our 3. We have our 2 here, so we can eliminate those 2. Let's look at our bracketed 4. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can highlight these 3 right here. And for this 3, we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This center one will be selected regardless. And now we have our 3 here, so we can eliminate this one. So now we have enough information to solve this column right here. They'll have to be connected, so they have to be the top 3. Alright, for this 2 we have 1, 2. We have our 1 there. Let's go ahead and deselect our 3 since we solved for that. For this 2 we already have our 2 there, so we can eliminate this one. For this here we have 1, 2, 3. We now have our 2 there. For this column we already have our 1 blue, so we can eliminate this one. And now we've solved for our 2 there, so we can eliminate this one. And we will highlight the last 2 to make that 3 work. Alright, it's coming back over here. Let's see. For this 2, that has to be blue. And for this 2, this one has to be blue for that to work. So we now have our 2 in our column here, so we can eliminate that last one. For this 3, we have 1, 2, 3. For this 2, we have our 2 there. We have our 3 around that one, and our 2 around that one. So that's how you get perfects in all of World 3 of Hexcells. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it.